can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet.
Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Hey, and how are we doing out there all across this great land and around the world? It's that time is time once again for the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, mad prophet of the airways, on a mission from God, and that mission is to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We do that on the Conservative Syndicate by espousing what we call the conservative gospel and exposing the lameness of the leftist agenda. And along with my co-host, Joe Hakos from Dry Report, we endeavor to do this every day through education, information, and engagement with you, our listening audience. So we're glad you took the time to join us tonight. And boy, you know, I think that's the first time I got all that out in one mouthful without stuttering.
Wow.
That is amazing. How are you doing tonight, Joe?
I can't. Oh, yeah. Unmute the mic would be better. It makes it work better. It's much better that way. I'm doing all right, John. I can handle the truth, John. I really can, but Hillary's deleted it.
Well, you know, folks, we were just talking before the beginning of the show here, and we have more information. I mean, this stuff just keeps piling up on Hillary. I would think by this time, this woman is either so drugged up with tranquilizers. I mean, I'd be thinking suicide if I was hearing some of the things that I'm hearing about her. If it was pertaining to me, here I am in the front and center of everything that's going on in the country, vying for the highest title perhaps in the world, and all this stuff just keeps surfacing, and then to have to go out into the public eye every single day. I mean, I don't know. It has to be sociopathic to be able to do this.
She can lie and not have to worry about it. She is born to this, John. This is her time. And in fact, she can just lie and not bat an eye, John, because it is sociopathic. It's the only way you can do this thing. To be this sinister. That's the only word I can come up with. Sinister. For what we already known has happened before. With what difference at this point does it make? And now it's like, hey, every time you turn around, there's an email. They find in these certain documents in their emails more and more and more, and they just drip, 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 drip. We ought to just get it over with and waterboard the murderous lying. You know what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's just take stock of what we're dealing with here. We've had a president in the White House who is just as sociopathic, if not more, and on top of it, probably the most narcissistic political figure I've seen in my lifetime. I used to think Richard Nixon was rather narcissistic, but he was paranoid, and I guess that kind of offset some things. But this man, for 7.5 years, has stood in front of his teleprompter, blatantly lied to the American people, and people have believed him. Hillary Clinton, same thing, but she's been doing it so much longer.
Yes.
And you would think she's better at it. She's actually not. But it doesn't seem to make any difference to her. Her and her husband, this was a match made in hell. It's like, let's get the two most sociopathic people together. And now, let's cap that off with some of these other people that are involved on the Democrat side. Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi. What's the other one? Debbie Wasserman Schultz. These people have, I mean, without even flinching, can come out and lie. At least Bernie Sanders is only delusional. I look at the guy, he he's well intended. I do not believe that Bernie Sanders is evil. I think he is just delusionally ignorant. He just really thinks that his idea of democratic socialism, whatever that is the answer for everything. And he's as wrong as the day is long. But this guy is not sociopathic. He doesn't get out there and lie. He tells you what he thinks. He tells you what he believes. He tells you why he believes it, and he doesn't back down. And he doesn't have any scandals in his closet. He's an honest to goodness socialist, and he doesn't shy away from it. But when you put him up against people like Clinton and Obama and Pelosi and Reid, and I guess the only reason I think he's a total
Schultz
lunatic,
and McConnell and Paul Ryan.
Yeah. Well,
let's not forget these other people that have that R behind their name.
Well,
they can change it.
Punch.
That's a whole other thing. Sorry, John. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. That's okay. What I'm saying is, sociopathic behavior has become epidemic because these Republicans have been around it now for so long that they don't have any problem doing it. They don't have any problem getting up there and telling us, yes, we want smaller government. By the way, we're going to give Obama everything that he wants. And we'll call it small government. We'll call it's good for conservatism that we allow ourselves to be transformed into European socioeconomic transformation type of thing. That's good for conservatism. By the way, we're all for conservatism. Bush the other day making a statement on the AP press conference he was at, an AP interview, about the fact that the reason he's doing what he's doing is because somebody has to protect conservatism. I'm like,
well, his brand of conservatism. The thing is these people, instead of doing what they're doing, the Bush and the McConnells and the Ryans of the world, they should just change. It would be easier, instead of changing the Republican Party into something and they ignore the base. What they really should do is just, hey, change your party.
Yeah.
You already have the Democratic Party. Just go there. It's much easier to do that than it is to change the Republican Party into Democrat light.
Oh, yeah. And we've seen people do it successfully, Joseph Lieberman, people like that. You just
Oh, he's
one day,
independent, though.
He's
an independent. He caucuses, though, with the Dems.
Yeah. What's the guy that used to be governor down in your neck of the woods? Crist?
Charlie Crist.
Yeah.
Charlie Crist. Well, it was just like, the Republicans won't have me, so I'll be an independent, because he couldn't qualify for the ballot on the Democratic side. And then when he could qualify for the Democratic, but I'll be a Democrat now. I'll be with whoever would like me. I'll be that. It was like,
yeah.
Sorry, Charlie, the old tuna commercial.
And then you see things like I was laughing yesterday. Two articles came out within an hour of each other, and talked about Jeb Bush getting these major big name endorsements. Lindsey Graham and John McCain. Now, there's the guys you want endorsing you as you're out trying to tell America that you're really conservative. I'm outside the gateway. I'm outside the politics. I can fix all this. And two of the biggest, lamest rhinos walking in the halls of Congress today come out and say, yeah, Jeb's the guy for the job.
Yeah. If that's not that is an endorsement, and that is an ironclad endorsement of exactly what Jeb Bush is and what those guys are. And that's the reason why, well, gee, Lindsey, you pulled it like negative nothing. I mean, for crying out loud, Lindsey, your campaign, what your campaign accomplished was, it was getting the field ready to have seed thrown on it and dirt piled on top of it. That's
the only
what your
people that were
campaign
supporting
was.
Lindsey Graham were Democrats, just hoping, man, if we get somebody like him up against Hillary, it's all over,
It's a breeze. I mean, Hillary she could probably drink during the debates.
Then
Lindsey would help her.
We got to go to our break here. When we get back, I want to punch open the show today with just something that just came out here. I'm a little tepid about this. Sarah Palin came out today and endorsed Donald Trump, and so we're going to talk about this. The deal with Trump. Joe and I were talking before the show, man. This is something else. This is something else. I don't even know I can't even brand it. I can't even label it anything. But it is so interesting and so entertaining to watch this. And the only bad side of it is if this guy gets elected, who the hell knows what we're going to look like, if he gets that kind of power. But stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We got a lot for you today. catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by CitizensUnited.org.
Listening to the Conservative Syndicate. Not to be mistaken for Saturday Night Live. We're the real deal. and we're glad to have you with us tonight. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with my co-host, Joe Hickos from Troy Report. And we're going to kind of get into a little discussion here. No real big thing that we're trying to point out one way or the other than the pure entertainment value that is beginning to take hold of the Republican primary. Donald Trump is out there again, just doing what he does best, captivating audiences with his, I'm the best thing since sliced bread and everybody else sucks the big one. That kind of philosophy, and it's proven to at this point to at least work. And we talked yesterday about the number of people that are now saying, that they're going to go to the polls either for the first time or return to the polls after time off, 10 to 20 years. Some of them said it's been at least 10 years. Some of them as long as 20 years. Think about that. That's like 5 election cycles that people have just stayed away from the polls. And because of the Trump phenomenon, somebody that's getting up and saying what everybody is feeling, and that has been enough to drive his campaign and keep him at the top of the polls. But today, something happened that's kind of, to me, I don't know if this is going to backfire or whatever. Sarah Palin endorsed Donald Trump. Now, when you think about the fact of how many people out there, Democrats, as Joe was pointing out yesterday, Democrats that registered as Republicans so they could vote for Trump, that kind of thing. And Sarah Palin is probably to the Democrats what Hillary Clinton is to conservatives. It's just they're iconic figures that just represent everything that you just hate about that political party. So I want to get your take on this, Joe. What do you think this will help Trump or hurt him?
It's kind of funny how this is going to work out. Sarah's coming in, and is it because the lobbyists, the establishment folks are all kind of like, would I rather have Donald Trump or Ted Cruz? And they're like, and the first thing out of their mouth is, I don't want none of this guy. I want Jeb Bush. But obviously, Jeb Bush is not going to be there. And so these establishment folks are all kind of like going, well, maybe who can we get along with then? And I think they're coming around to the Trump thing. Well, we could do the Trump thing. And I think that's what Sarah Palin is here. The quote-unquote, who's been in the news for the Republicans in the last elections? Well, Sarah Palin's been there all along. Next thing I know, we're going to have Karl Rove endorsing the guy or some crap. And that might be the kiss of death for him. But I think it's kind of funny that Palin's coming out here. Sir, it's still pretty darn early. We haven't cast any ballots yet.
Well, I'm just thinking about the fact that she is so detested amongst the liberal, progressive, and even independents.
Well, yes, she is a lightning rod for all that. I mean, she has been in the past and will be in the future, and for everything she says, because, she has said some kind of wacky things like Trump does, but she wasn't able to get away with it.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. My assessment of this, I don't know if this is going to help Trump. I think it will hurt him more than he helps him. The only thing she brings to the stage is she's good eye candy. It's good to have her up there in her leather leather suits, and she can do whatever she does. But I don't see that as being. I don't know that I just think it was a mistake to take her endorsement. I don't think this is going to help Trump at all. I just don't.
I don't think that these endorsements, a lot of them don't really mean a darn thing anyway. To be quite honest.
Normally I would say that
it drives people to the polls to vote for somebody.
Yeah, normally I would agree, but see now what you've got. See, Palin is not only despised by the liberals, she's also despised by the establishment. And when I see things like the article that surfaced yesterday on Ted Cruz's wife being pulled over by cops in 2005. She was undergoing depression. She was fighting depression, clinical depression, and the cops pulled her over, and they said they didn't know if she was endangering herself. And so I'm thinking, why would this come to the surface now? It's because Ted Cruz is running. And so anything that we can put out there that would put any, maybe she's suffering depression because Ted went into politics or something like that. But then as I gave it more thought, this isn't something that I don't think this is something the left would put out there because it would have come out a long time ago. I wouldn't be surprised to find out this is something that was dumped out there by somebody like Trump or the Bush camp.
I guarantee it was done by some Republican organization.
Right, some Republican.
I guarantee it was. All this stuff that's come out has been Republican on Republican.
Yeah, so the idea, they just handed a Sarah Palin endorsement has just handed the Republican Party another scapegoat that they can use to try to bring down Trump. It's not the liberals. It's not the liberals that we have to worry about at this point. It's the Republicans.
Which is what I was saying before. It's like we could have God himself come down, and he still wouldn't be a good enough candidate.
Yeah.
These people are pathetic.
Yeah,
it truly is pathetic. It's ridiculous what's going on here. It's like, hey, Hillary Clinton is the person you should be attacking.
Yeah,
figure it out. If you have a sound policy and you make sense and do whatever, and you are a good candidate, run on that. Hillary Clinton's your enemy. You're supposed to defeat her.
Right?
But nope. Every single time we get the same backbiting crap fest from the Republicans. Why? Because the Republican establishment does not want to relinquish their power, and I told you this before, they do not care about winning.
No,
They've already
don't.
said that they will not support Donald Trump.
Yeah,
They've already put it down in quotations. They will not support Donald Trump. They will not vote for Donald Trump. And so, Hillary Clinton, they're going to support Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, well, that's the point. The mantra of the Republican operative, I'm not talking about the Republican leadership. The Republican operative is out there constantly telling us we have to win, we have to win, we have to win. The narrative from the Republican leadership is they've been compromising so that they could win. We're compromising right now. Mitch McConnell said it the other day. Once we get control of the White House, we're going to change gears. We're going to do things in a different way. And I'm sitting there going, you know what, you jackass. Do you really think we're that stupid?
Yes, he does think that.
You really think that we're going to buy the fact that if you win the White House? But see, they consider winning the White House is getting Jeb Bush or John Kasich or worst case scenario Marco Rubio in there, because I think Marco Rubio can be turned. He's already a fence walker, and it wouldn't be much for him to get in there and everybody, okay, buddy, here it is. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. And Rove would become his chief of staff, that kind of stuff. So this thing with Sarah Palin, I think Trump may just be he may be starting to make some stupid decisions based on his ego. I just do not think Sarah Palin is somebody I would want in my camp at this time. I think she's a good activist. I think she's great from the sidelines. Let her, scream and yell and shout all she wants, and she can wink at me all day long. But the point is to put her into the crosshairs here now when when things are the way they are. And I don't think it was a good move. I don't think it's a bright move because Sarah Palin brings something to it that other endorsements would. We laugh and joke. Lindsey Graham, John McCain. So what? Okay. So Jeb Bush has picked up 2 more votes. That's about the equivalent of that. But Sarah Palin can discourage other people who would normally now would be on the Trump train and may just turn and go the other way now. I'm speculating, but
that's a definite possibility. I can understand. I can see why, because, like I said, she is a lightning rod for negative stuff. But the scary thing about the Trump campaign anymore is how it's grown. We had yes we can.
Yeah.
With Obama, now it's make America great. Yeah. And it's like we're getting this blind followership as opposed to a discern and look at whatever is going on, and that's the part that's it's starting to gain that kind of traction and momentum. It's kind of like, whoa, this is kind of getting scary to me.
Yeah. Well, you had mentioned earlier something about, I think it was just before we came in the air, and we kind of just started rambling a little bit about the Trump campaign, and you said to me, I'm really beginning to enjoy this. And I want you to expound on that, what you meant by that.
Well, it's kind of starting to, it's getting a little crazy out there. I mean, it's becoming, there's a show that was on Showtime, and they called it The Circus. And I think it's what it was. And anyway, and I described this before as like a circus, and this is becoming more, and now it's starting to become a perpetual motion machine where you don't even have to wind it up. It's already wound up, and there's nothing stopping it now. All you have to kind of do is just tap it along a little bit, and it's going to get even more crazier and hairier here as we go down the road. We're 12 days away from the Iowa caucuses here, and it's just becoming more and more unbelievable each and every day. I'm just waiting to see what happens tomorrow. We got Sarah Palin today. What are we going to have tomorrow?
Yeah.
Gutierrez. We're going to have Gutierrez from the Democratic Party endorsing Trump now. I mean, what other insanity could we have?
Oh, yeah. How about this? How about Ellen Grayson filing a lawsuit against Ted Cruz over citizenship and then endorsing Donald Trump?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's becoming.
Yeah,
it's almost it's farcical. It's really becoming. Wow. Let's see what happens. I still want to wait and see what happens when people start to vote.
But yeah,
that's
really
crazy.
That's going to be the telling factor here. We get a couple of these primaries under our belt here, and we get kind of a better feel because even the polls. I mean, we talk about the polls, and we gauge a lot of what we say here based on what polls are telling us. But in all honesty, most of these polls are slanted one way or the other anyway, and so yeah, they might give a general perception of what's going on. They might reflect a little bit to some degree what's going on in the minds of Americans today. But when we actually start breaking some of this down, I mean, when you start looking at polls, one of the things I was noticing, I had an article the other day I was going to share, but it was as I started looking at it, it was too complicated for radio. It's something that if I was on TV, I would do because it would look better visually than for me trying to explain numbers and how they're breaking it down. And they had a series of all these polls that they were taking from everywhere from CBS to Monmouth up in New Hampshire and stuff like that. And they're breaking it all down. And the thing I was noticing is that these polls now, the number of people polled in them is getting smaller and smaller. We used to see polls where it was anywhere between 3,500 to 4,000 people. Then last year it was between 1,200 and 1,500 people. Now these things are like 300 to 400 people.
Yeah.
And they're not even trying to quantify who they are anymore. It's not likely voters, registered voters, or anything else. It's just, we asked 350 people.
Just respondents.
Yeah, we stood down at the entrance to Walmart and asked people what they were going to do. We
went down to the homeless shelter and asked people what they thought of Donald Trump.
Yeah, so we can't really. We're not going to know until I think I don't really know or don't really want to start making any serious speculations till after South Carolina. I think after we get 3 of these primaries under our belt, and we're going to start getting a better feel as to what the electorate is actually doing. And let's see if we start getting these Trump voters showing up to the polls and to vote like they said they're going to do. Then, maybe we can be a little bit more narrow-minded about what we're seeing. But right now, it is, I think the show you were talking about on Showtime was called Carnival, wasn't it?
Something like that.
I remember that.
But to your point, it'd be nice that maybe we'll see if there is a discerning kind of eye going on with the electorate as opposed to the polling going on.
Yeah.
So after we see some election results, then we can start to maybe put some, actually start to nail this thing down.
Yeah, I think we'll have a much better read on actually what's going on. But for all intents and purposes, I just think it was a bad move to put Sarah Palin up there and say, yeah, Donald's my guy.
Whatever. She can do that.
Yeah, she can do that.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah,
it could go one way or the other.
It'd be better if she did it on Fox News than to stand on the stage. Let me put it that way. So anyway, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll continue this exercise in insanity right here at the Conservative Syndicate.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net.
The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
We are back, and you're listening to none other than the Conservative Syndicate. And I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Host, my Hakos. How about that?
That's
Joe
a
Hickos,
different
my
one.
co-host from Dryer Report. We were just talking before the break here about the endorsement of Sarah Palin of Donald Trump and how that might affect his campaign. I don't know. I mean, it might be this time next week nobody's talking about it, but I know for the next few days we're going to see an outpouring of anti-Sarah Palin stuff. And it might start out with the fact that her daughter just gave birth to their second child out of wedlock. It'll be that kind of thing. It'll be whatever they can do to smear or whatever. And it was brought to my attention by one of the guys in our chat room that I wasn't aware of this. That when we talk about wackiness, Phil Robertson of the Duck Dynasty has endorsed Ted Cruz. And apparently they actually did a video. They took Ted Cruz duck hunting. And they gave their endorsement while they were sitting in a duck blind. Now there's some wackiness for you. But I want to just kind of, because this is going to be one of those types that I think you couldn't make stuff like this up for Saturday Night Live. The way this, I think this is going to end up coming down the pipe here, especially when the establishment, after like I said, these first few primaries coming up next, what is it, a week and a half away now? And you're going to see stuff coming down there, and they go into total desperation mode. That's what I'm waiting for. The comedy is going to be when they realize there's no way in hell Jeb Bush or John Kasich is going to make it to the nomination. And what are they going to do? Are they going to be pulling stuff out of their rears, trying to fix this some way or another? I want to read you, though, Phil Robertson. I just find this comedic. Phil Robertson's qualifications for president. He says, my qualifications for president of the United States are rather narrow. Is he or she godly? Does he or she love us? Can he or she do the job? And finally, would they kill a duck and put him in a pot and make him a good duck gumbo?
Hey, that works for me.
I guess with Cruz, though, it may not be gumbo. It may be menudo. A good duck.
I don't know what it would be. Hey, as long as you cook it up right, that's fine by me. Yeah, a good tasty duck right now would go well with a little bit of maybe some red wine.
Well, I tell you, having an endorsement from somebody like Phil Robertson would feel much better to me than having an endorsement of somebody like Sarah Palin.
Well, they don't do much for a candidate, though. I mean, really, I don't see that driving people to, hey, I'm endorsed by whoever. Well, good for you. I'm still voting for the other guy,
Yeah, well, wasn't it? I remember in the last election, Will Robertson, the son of Phil Robertson, endorsed somebody down in Louisiana. I think it was for governor or something. And I don't know if his candidate won or not, but I remember that. I remember there being a big deal about it. And that's really all it is when these people do this stuff. It's fodder for the media.
I'm here to tell you, Louisiana's got some crazy voting because they kind of just go at one time. There is no primary. They just kind of go, woo, and vote. And it's just crazy how they do it in Louisiana. It is different. That's all I can say. Yeah, it is different, and if you are not involved in it, you could completely miss it because it happens like boom, and then it's gone, man. And it's just like,
well, that would
we had an election.
That might be an interesting case study someday in the show that we pick maybe a couple of states that are just kind of out there, and we talk about how the culture is in terms of how it affects voting. In fact, I make fun of Joe's state out there in Florida only because I live in probably a worse state out here in California. But I've always thought that after the 2000 election and we had the big Chad thing, that Florida should be annexed to Cuba.
Oh, that would be just...
If we're going to build that wall...
that would go right along with Obama's foreign policy right now, actually.
Yeah, well, if we're going to build this wall along the southern border, let's make sure it passes along the panhandle of Florida.
But I will tell you this, John. What that did is that forced the state of Florida to completely revamp their voting system and how these things are conducted. So, on the... so some good can come out of things like that.
Okay, but did that also give license to the increase in gerrymandering down there?
Well, gerrymandering is going to be gerrymandering for.
But I mean, if we say, okay,
it doesn't matter. We're going to
revamp.
They get upset about it because they're not in power. If the census didn't work out for them, oh well. But each side does it, so it is what it is. They howl and moan about it, but hey, if they're the ones doing it, they're not howling and moaning about it. They're saying, well, hey, that's as fair as we can make it.
Yeah, well, they fixed it out here in California because people are so upset with the gerrymandering. They just said, hey, we got a better thing. Let's just let everybody that gets a driver's license register. In fact, let's mandate it, okay? If you're not from America, no big deal. What party you want to vote for, that kind of thing. When your driver's registration is in Espanol instead of English, that tells you something. We don't need gerrymandering anymore. We just register everybody that steps into a DMV these days. It doesn't make any difference,
I'm surprised you don't have it in restrooms.
Yeah, donate your organs and we'll give you the right to vote. That kind of thing. So anyhow, I just some of the lightness of this thing. I see more of it coming down the pipe here. But to me, again, the most comedic is the media announcing big name endorsements for Jeb Bush, Lindsey Graham, and John McCain.
So they thought.
I'm hey, like, okay.
Did you see the thing? Not to get off them. Did you see the thing? What Facebook is doing over in Europe?
Yeah. What is that? You sent that over to me, and I just glanced at it. What's this? They're beginning to censor.
Yeah, so I figured you might enjoy this since you were in Facebook jail for a while. This is out of Reuters. Came out today, and Facebook began a European-wide campaign on Monday to thwart extremist posts on social media after German politicians in particular raised concerns about a rise in xenophobic comments linked to the influx of refugees. The U.S.-based group launched this initiative for civil courage online in Berlin, pledging that over 1 million euros, or about £1 million, to support non-governmental organizations in their efforts to counter racist and xenophobic posts. Facebook Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg said that hate speech has no place in our society, including the internet.
Well, yeah.
Hold on now. Hold on. I know. Facebook's ground rules forbid bullying, harassment, and threatening language, but critics say it does not enforce them properly.
I don't get this.
Hold on, John. Hold on.
How do you forbid bullying on cyberspace?
I know. Let me get through it, then you can get crazy. I know this is going to.
I've never been able to get my head around that.
For you.
People say, well, the people are being bullied on Facebook. Hey, you know what? If you're getting your ass kicked in the schoolyard, are you going to continue to step into that part of the schoolyard? Or at least gather some people together that, collectively you can stand against the bully. So I'm being bullied on Facebook, so I'm going to keep going on Facebook so I can get bullied.
You would report somebody and then they would ban you.
Let's think about it. If somebody's making you feel so insecure about yourself that you want to consider suicide, why would you keep doing it? That's the battered wife syndrome. The wife gets her butt kicked every night when the husband comes home from work. Why does she continue to stay there? At what point in time does some sense of reasoning kick in? Hey, you know what? People are calling me names on Facebook. Maybe I shouldn't go on Facebook.
Well, let me get to the actual more important part of the story than just Facebook doing this, all right? So, on Friday, the firm said it hired a unit of publisher Bertelsmann to monitor and delete these racist posts on its platform in Germany. In November, prosecutors in Hamburg launched an investigation into Facebook on suspicion of not doing enough to prevent dissemination of hate speech. Top German politicians and celebrities have voiced concerns about the rise of anti-foreigner comments on Facebook and other social media as the country struggles to cope with the tide of new migrants that amount to 1.1 million last year alone, which is now predicted to be at least 10 to 15 million by July.
Yeah.
Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, has urged Facebook to do more, and the Justice Ministry set up a task force with Facebook and other social networks
This is
providers aim of identifying criminal posts more quickly and taking them down. That's the part that's scary.
Yeah, well, this is an extension of the Obama theorem, leading from behind. You opened up your borders, Ms. Merkel. You let all these Syrian refugees, quote unquote, in, and now that you've got to deal with the terrorist aspect of this, let's blame Facebook.
Terrorists, they're raping their women in public square.
Yeah.
As part of their little rituals.
Yeah. Anyway,
like they did in the Arab Spring.
Yeah, we got to go to a break here. We're at quarter 15 minutes away from the hour here. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Kind of a zany day today. I'm having fun. Hope you are too. We'll be right back. Stay with us. You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Attention taxpayers! If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. Okay, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos from Dry Report, my co-host, partner in crime. And you're right, Joe. This kind of just pushed my button a little bit because I'm really getting sick and tired of being responsible for everybody else's insecurities. This is just crap.
Well, it's beyond that, John. This is beyond that. These people are considering if you post something on Facebook that goes against the government's policy, they'll deem it hate speech, and they'll have it taken down, deleted, or have you arrested for it.
Well, I'm like, let's be realistic about this. The last time I checked, Facebook receives about 18 billion posts a year. 18 billion posts a year. Now, I don't know how many millions of people are on Facebook, but I know in America, it's probably more than a third of our population. I mean, conservatively speaking, I bet you we have 150 million people that play around on social media in one form or another.
Yes, it's so important now that they include it in our presidential debates.
Yeah, and when we talk about censoring and stuff like that, it's amazing that we don't seem to be as concerned about social media being used by our elected officials to compromise classified information. But we're more worried about the kid in high school who's being cyberbullied, who doesn't have the sense of seaweed to quit going on Facebook if they're being ridiculed.
It's amazing to me that what happens is, what we got to do. This is like the extension of the gun control thing. We gotta take guns away from law-abiding citizens to protect those that can't protect themselves, or so the lunatics get it. So let's start censoring Facebook and social media to protect them against the idiots that are too stupid not to go there.
Well, this is Germany turning Facebook into Pravda is what this is doing.
Well, and again, this is another extension of the Obama theorem. Germany opened their borders to these refugees. They're having problems with these refugees in those countries with rape, violence, crime, all these things that are going on because these people are in these countries, and they basically have been given a pat on the back when they walked across the border. We know you're Muslim. We know you're oppressed. We know that you're a special kind of people. We're not going to do anything to upset you and make you feel offended or anything else. You give these people license to do this stuff, and then you want to cramp down on everybody else who's saying something about it. You get on Facebook. I mean, think about it. 18 billion posts a year. How are you ever going to really police that? How are you going to really be able to determine, do we just put everybody on the watch list? I mean, it's so ludicrous in his thinking. But the idea is that this is a counter to bad policy decision by Merkel. You let these people in, and now you're trying to protect them from themselves. And you're doing it at the expense of...
No. She's trying to keep people silenced about the policies that she implemented. Okay. She doesn't want these people to talk bad about her policy. She wants to silence those voices.
I understand that, but what I'm saying, it was a bad decision on her part, just like it's
yes, absolutely. And this is her way of solving it,
right.
Is telling people to shut up.
And that's what Obama's doing over here. It's a way of silencing people. Net neutrality. That if you don't think that it's not being implemented right now, if you don't think that they're not trying to figure out how they're going to use this to sequester people coming out in opposition to things, we're going to talk about in the next hour this release of the 7 Iranian prisoners in exchange for 5 American prisoners. Now, as I said yesterday, I am happy as pie that these Americans are home, are on their way home. But when we break the news to you as to what was given in exchange and why, these are the policy decisions being made by Barack Obama on his way out the door that is going to come back and bite us in the butt long after he's the head of the UN. And we're going to have the ones to deal with this kind of stuff. And what they're doing now is, you don't think that they're not already looking at how they can sequester us on the internet through net neutrality, throttle us, control the internet speed, make it hard to download and things. I'm already having problems downloading stuff when I go on, and I like to copy and paste articles. Real simple thing, copy and paste articles so I can make notes. And it is becoming next to impossible to get these things copy and paste because they're the way that they're being formatted now. You can't do it, or you can't do it. You're getting interrupted with pop-up ads and all this other crap, and it makes it damn near impossible to do anything. You don't think they're not going to use this censoring one way or another? Merkel's just being upfront about it. I want people to stop posting this stuff. I want them to be slammed into Facebook jail if they do. And people like what's his name, Zuckerberg. He's an idiot. He's an educated derelict. He doesn't understand he's being played. He
loves it, dude. He's a true
he loves the
believer
attention. Yeah, he loves the attention because educated derelicts love the attention. Yes.
Now, it has nothing to do about attention. He actually believes it. He loves it. He thinks, this is a great policy. I can't believe people are upset with your policies there, Angela. You're Times Person of the Year. I can't believe they're all upset about these people being raped, killed, beaten up, threatened, killed. Everything else because you let over 1 million of these refugees into your country and you didn't properly vet them or anything else. I can't believe these people are upset with you. You should put the clamps on, Angela. That's crazy talk. That's hate speech. Ooh, I agree with you. And he goes along with it voluntarily. Unfortunately, he's going to find out soon enough that, hey, just like they said, first they came for the carpenters, then they came for the Jews. Nobody's enough to speak for me. Yeah, exactly. They'll be right after you, Mark.
Well, you know what, Mr. Zuckerberg, if anarchy ever becomes the rule of law in this land, just remember the lawyers and the media go first. That's standard operating procedure. So, you might be safe up there in Silicon Valley in your, 18-room mansion right now, but you'll be one of the prime targets because without the media, without the internet, people can't communicate, and that's what tyrants are going to control. The lawyers, first thing we do, what's that old adage? First thing we do is kill all the lawyers. The second thing we do is we shut down all the media, and it's all over, buddy. It's all over. So that's all I got to say about that. So anyway, any closing thoughts on this before we go to the top of the hour here? We got about 3 minutes here.
I would say to be very, very afraid of what's going on right now because what happens in Europe are, unfortunately, as Trump calls them, the idiots running our country want us to be like that. And so if that's going on there, it's going to make its way here. And the vetting process, we've been over and over before about these refugees. And Obama wants to bring thousands of these people here.
Yeah, I found it kind
of to cause a massive disruption.
I found it funny the other day. I've got friends of mine that are posting these articles out there and sending me emails about we're getting ready to bring in the first 10,000 refugees, and I'm thinking, dude, you mean the next 10,000? You're not even aware of the fact that we probably have already. What have we been bringing in? I think we reported on this show. We got like close to 3 million of these people already here? It's the refugee resettlement program. Yeah, it's nothing, and it's the same thing over in Europe right now. But there's a lot of criminal activity in Europe. But it's a money making machine for people. And unfortunately, in this country, there's supposedly religious organizations making this money. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. So. Again, it's just this process. So many in America are just catching up, just starting to catch up. And I think that is probably, if we just want to put the positive spin on having somebody like Donald Trump in the race, it's the fact that some of these things are being brought to the surface. I heard it. I was reading an article, I believe it was yesterday. I thought the line in it was really neat, that when Donald Trump talks about something. Now, he doesn't offer any substance. In fact, it was the article that I was going to talk about at the beginning of the show today, and I didn't. He says, let's see. It says here, Donald Trump gives off the vibe that he knows the country's problems and that he can fix them overnight. Very rarely does Donald Trump ever talk about policy. And when he does, his policies become the talking point of the town. And that's the positive spin. Whatever he decides to talk about, whether he's got a solution to it or not, and he doesn't have any real solutions that I've heard so far, okay, build a wall. Okay, how are you going to do that? That kind of thing.
Mexico's going to pay for it.
But when he does, people, that becomes a talking point. And so, that in and of itself is a good thing. It's just that too many people that don't know what they're talking about are the ones talking about it. Yeah, and that's the negative side. But we got to start somewhere. We got to start somewhere. So anyway, we're at the top of the hour here. We're going to go. It's time for the Edwards Notebook. Pay some bills. We'll be back. Donald Dix from Act for America will be with us in the next hour. We're going to talk about this Iranian-American prisoner exchange within context of several other things that took place pretty much below the radar over the last week and a half. So stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
When President Obama addresses the American people, you gotta wonder, what in the world is he thinking? Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, President Obama stated that the ISIS Muslim terrorists are riding around in pickup trucks and are no threat to America's existence. Now, we all know that is a total fabrication, considering the fact that ISIS terrorists and others are committing dastardly acts of warring brutality against all they come across, especially women, Christians, and black people whom they love to customarily enslave and torture. It is also common knowledge that ISIS terrorists are in America wandering around looking to and fro seeking to kill, steal from, and destroy. Also, when Obama says that the economy is doing well with plenty of jobs, doesn't he realize that all we have to do is talk to business owners who have had to cut back their staffs because of the gruesome impacts of Obamacare, and that America's standard of living is now lower than any time since the Korean War? I will tell you this, he probably thinks Americans are not too bright. After all, Obama, who disdains America, was elected twice. I'm Ron Edwards.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet.
Vying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your hosts on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
And we are back, and you are indeed listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with my co-host, Joe Hakos from Dreyer Report. And I want to let's kind of sum up what we were talking about the last hour here. The only phrase I keep thinking is the Trump phenomenon. This guy has brought something to the race that is just it's entertaining, and it is in many ways very constructive. Very constructive because, as we were saying, the idea that when he brings something up, all attention gets paid to it. Whether there's substance behind it or not is not the point at this particular point in time. It's that he is, for all intents and purposes, been able to control the narrative, and in doing that, been able to control his rise in the polls. And that's what we have been saying now on this show, is that the conservatives need to do that. We need to seize back or take back the narrative and be able to articulate to the American people why conservatism is the best way to conduct our business. It's that simple, and we just haven't really found anybody that can do that. I'll give it to Trump that he's doing it. Whether he makes it to the White House and does what he says he's going to do is another story. But for the time being, he is controlling it, and we got to give him credit for that. He's figured out how to do it. He's figured out how to ignite. He's figured out how to incite. He's doing it all, and he's being very successful. In the same way Bernie Sanders is doing it with the left. Bernie Sanders is igniting that college crowd that normally sits around at rave parties on election night. So give these guys credit for what they're doing. Whether you like them or not. I wanted to just share something here real quick. Here we got Don Dix will be on with us maybe in about 10 minutes or so. I wanted to share once again this article that I pulled up on Huffington Post. I quoted a little bit out of it the last hour, and it's written by Armand Wolf. And I love the Huffington Post because you really don't have to have any qualifications to write for them. The qualifications of this particular person is he's currently applying to college with a devout interest in the state of our world. That's his subtitle. Armand Wolf, currently applying to college with a devout interest in the state of our world. Now, this is a Bernie...
Me too.
This is a Bernie Sanders supporter, okay? He doesn't hide the fact of what he's talking about is really interesting. He says currently he's talking about, the Republicans have Donald Trump and they've got, their field of people and they got their ideology. But he says the Democrat Party stage, he's talking about the Democrat race. The Democratic stage is a bit more murky. There are currently two contenders who have a serious shot at winning the nomination. First, Hillary Clinton, former First Lady, Secretary of State, and Senator. Currently, the frontrunner, Hillary Clinton, is likely to be the Democratic nominee for all the wrong reasons. Firstly, Hillary Clinton preys on the ambiguous voter. That is because she has no ideas. Hillary Clinton doesn't draw any crowds, and she doesn't bring light to any issues. She hopes that the voter will come to the polls, recognize her name, and vote for her. The only achievement that Hillary Clinton marvels at is being a woman, and she must have worked so hard for that. In fact, her womanhood is why famous celebrities like Jennifer Lopez and Lena Dunham support her. However, I do not oppose Hillary Clinton because of the fact that she is a woman. I oppose Hillary Clinton for the reasons far worse. It is no secret that Donald Trump will destroy this country. His racist rhetoric and xenophobic antics will make him a pariah in the eyes of the international community. But the country can rebuild. Walls can be torn down and visas can be expedited. Odds are the majority of legislators that Trump puts on the table won't even make it past Congress. And while it's no secret that Donald Trump will destroy the country, Hillary Clinton will destroy the foundation of the country. Hillary Clinton is an embodiment of the Democratic establishment in its purest form. If Hillary Clinton becomes president, it will signify that the American people have no voice. Okay? Let's just change that to the Republican Party. That's it. Just take everything I just said and put Jeb Bush's name in there, or John Kasich. And you have exactly the same thing.
Same thing. I don't get where Donald Trump's going to destroy the country. Really, because he said, I don't want people here illegally, and we should stop with having the Muslim refugees come in here because some of them might be terrorists. We should put a pause on that. That's so horrible an idea. My goodness. The fact that he wants to maybe keep some people safe.
I want to read you the last two paragraphs because we're in our short segment right now.
I especially love the last sentence, John.
Yeah, the last two paragraphs with the last sentence especially because this shows the idiocy of today's liberal voter. Sadly, since the establishment will shove Hillary Clinton down the throats of the voters, all we're left with is Donald Trump. We can put Jeb Bush in there. Since the establishment will shove Jeb Bush down our throats, okay? And while Donald Trump will unequivocally destroy the country, his election will make a statement. Donald Trump's election will show that we, the American people, choose our leaders, not the establishment. And in 4 years, when Bernie Sanders runs again at 95 years old, he will win. Then the United States will truly see progress and change, and Hillary Clinton will feel the burn.
I love that last one.
Does anybody not consider the fact that both Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are a day older than dirt? They may not be here in 4 years.
Oh, man. It's like Bernie's going to run again. Really? Oh, my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, he'll be giving speeches between Valium and Darvon shots at the old folks' home.
You better not meet Kevorkian.
Amazing that nobody's considering the fact these guys, either one of these people could get elected and could die in office of old age, for crying out loud.
Oh, jeez. Just some of the lack of.
Well, I would say, normally what I would say is that we had, Hillary Clinton could die of a brain tumor, but you have to have a brain to have a tumor.
Well, there's already questions about her health right now.
Anyway, guys, we got to go to a break. This is our short segment. A couple commercials here. We'll be back with Don Dix from Act for America. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back. You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360.
Folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. And we're back. and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hickles, my co-host. And I hope you're enjoying the show today. I'm a lot of jocularity and just, taking some cheap shots at people. It's fun to do, maybe not as productive as we could be, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I just do that sometimes. I take heat from some of my friends sometimes. I see them at church or whatever, and they're like, you were really off the wall with this, or off, you know what, lighten up, man. Just, don't, yeah, things are serious, but Jesus, let's laugh once in a while, okay? Let's have some fun.
Well, we're talking about some serious stuff, but we're
talking about serious stuff. But geez, there is a comedic side to some of this stuff, especially the primary right now. This is like I said, you couldn't write stuff like this for Saturday Night Live. I mean,
absolutely,
this is great stuff. Anyway, we have with us right now Donald Dix doing his weekly segment. Donald is with Act for America, has his own show out in the Inland Valley, 590 AM The Answer. I believe it's the Don and Jen show. Is that it?
It is indeed. It's the Don and Jen show.
Okay, all right. And
appropriately named.
Okay, we have I wanted to talk about this exchange that took place, kind of under the radar. Not a whole lot of people are aware of what's going on. The media has really done minimal coverage on this. And I want to kind of just set a timeline for people so that you'll understand why. And then I want to get, because Don is in on this. He really has a thorough understanding of what's going on when it comes to the Islamic community and the radicalism and everything else. I think it was towards the beginning of last week, we had the UN approve lifting the sanctions on Iran. You remember the Iranian deal, and all these things were in place. It was teetering, I think, the week before because there was some stuff going on with missile development or something, and they were like, well, we may not do this. But somehow that all got swept under the carpet, and so the head of the UN came out, and it's a great day for Allah that where they're going to lift the sanctions on Iran, and all that money's going to be released. And then we had this situation with the American sailors, I guess, drifting into Iranian waters, and we had there was minimal airplay on this. But these American sailors were made to apologize for what they did, and it became a little bit of a hot button on the debate, the Republican debate on Thursday. No mention of it at all in the Democratic debate that I could see. But
or in the State of the Union address.
I'm sorry?
No mention of it in the State of the Union address either.
Yeah, there was no mention of the State of the Union. Nothing was mentioned in the debate. But it was a little political theater at the GOP debate. And then all of a sudden we hear about this release, 7 Iranians released for 5 Americans. And I was probably one of the first people who just came out and said, you know what, I know there's politics behind this, but let's not play the politics because, we got Americans coming home. That's great. Okay, we gave them 7 Iranians. All right, whatever. And then I started reading up on some stuff. And these 7 Iranians that have been released, some of their, I think 5 of them have dual citizenships between Iran and America. I think out of the 7 of them, 4 of them still are going to be here. They're going to reside in the United States. They're not leaving. The other ones have decided, I think, to go to Iran. I might be wrong on the split, but they have some that are going to remain here in Houston and Maryland, where they reside. And then they have others that are going to stay in Iran. In fact, I think one of the Americans that was released is going to remain in Iran also, if I'm hearing it. But that's not the big point. The big point is this. I started looking at who these people were, and I'm astounded. Now, these 7 Iranians were all tied in with a conspiracy to transfer illegally technology and commodities dealing with building of missile systems. And as soon as I saw that, I went, well, wait a minute. If we're trying to, and Iran was the one that came up with this thing. It wasn't, Obama didn't come to the table and say, hey, we'll give you some Iranians for Americans. Iran came and said, hey, we got these Americans. This is what we want in exchange. And so right away, the first thing that popped in my head was, well, this is almost on par with the Bergdahl trade. We released terrorists to get back this traitorous soldier, but of course it's light. It's not as heavy because we got back some real sincere Americans, And so my first thought was, okay, the exchange, okay. But they got back some of the people that are instrumental in the development of their nuclear capability program. And so I went, wow, wait a minute, this is not good. This is not good. So having said all that, Don, I turn the mic over to you. What do you think about this?
Well, we've sent a very clear message to Iran and, in fact, the rest of the Muslim countries that sponsor any sort of worldwide terrorism or political jihad or Islamic dawah throughout the world. We basically said, and of course, this is, keep in mind, perspective, Iran is the greatest state sponsor of terrorism throughout the world for the last 30 years. So here's the message we've sent to them. You have carte blanche. What we did, and Sebastian Gorka, I don't know if you've followed any of the work that Dr. Sebastian Gorka does, he actually framed this in a very interesting way. He said, we traded a Starbucks card for the whole farm. Kind of an interesting way. But there's another element to this that really has, if this is flown under the radar, the other piece of this has actually not gotten any attention. We have removed from what's called the Interpol Red List.
There you go.
14 individuals who have been responsible throughout time for attacks against America dating back to, the Khobar Towers, the USS Cole. These individuals were never brought to justice, and they still exist as sort of on the wanted poster list of Interpol, the individuals that were involved in those attacks as well, that were all trained by the IRGC, which is the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. These individuals were, involved in maiming and killing in Iraq hundreds of U.S. servicemen with IEDs, terrorist attacks on, So it wasn't just this sort of higher profile 7 individuals that, yes, they were involved in the transport, the obtaining of military grade secrets regarding everything from missile guidance systems to uninterrupted power supplies. I mean, you name it. So these people were violating U.S. sanctions, preventing that technology from going to Iran while these sanctions were in place, to actual terrorist individuals that have been removed from the Interpol's red list. So Iran, what we've sent is a very dangerous message to the entire world of, the bad actors. It's the U.S. will literally bend over for you now. All you have to do is capture and this was not even a quid pro quo. These people were political prisoners. They were prisoners of Iran that were violating Sharia-based law, if you will. A church pastor, other individual, a journalist, for Pete's sake, for the Washington Post, and still an unaccounted for ex-FBI agent who's missing. And even in the midst of all of this, the family's now coming out and saying we were left totally in the dark. Now that and this is the way the Obama administration operates, totally in the dark. This is the Bergdahl exchange. Congress was left out of the loop regarding the exchange of these prisoners for Bergdahl, and they're supposed
illegally.
There's supposed to be a 30-day period that Congress is alerted to this pending exchange. That didn't happen. The family of this missing FBI agent no one knew about this until boom, it's done. So this message that's been sent to the world of the Islamic terrorist people willing to do whatever it is to advance Islam in the name of jihad, whether it's terrorism or politically, like the Muslim Brotherhood likes to do on the surface of it. All you got to do is take a couple Americans hostage, and you can have whatever you want, including money, because we gave them $1.7 billion plus interest as a part of the sanctions relief, clear money that some people are saying, well, they're going to use it to reestablish infrastructure. Boeing's going to get a plane deal.
Nope.
You know what?
No, they're going to build more nuclear reactors. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, this money, this tiger is not going to change its stripes. And this is, if the world from World War II has not learned the lesson of appeasement, that a bad actor is going to continue to be a bad actor. They're just going to get what they can get from you until they actually have to use military force to get it. This is what happened in Germany with, Neville Chamberlain's, big concession. We got Germany to be peaceful. Well, obviously we saw how well that worked.
Yeah.
This is cut from that same cloth.
Yeah. Well, this is just Barack Obama showing that he is a coward. There's not a fight that's out there worth winning. So he won't fight for anything.
Yeah, well, I agree.
I don't know if he's showing us that he's a coward.
He's a coward.
Or that, well, I mean, in our worldview, he's a coward. In his worldview, this has a totally different purpose.
Look, you look at everything he's done. He won't fight for anything. He says he's fighting ISIS. He's not fighting ISIS right now. Look at that. That's not fighting ISIS. He gave up on Cuba. Hey, Cuba. Yeah, hey, 50 years of you not doing anything, you oppressing your people. Barack Obama just gave that all up. Now he's given up the Iranian things. There's no fight that is worth winning to him. He will not put up a fight, anything. He will appease everybody, just like you said. He will appease everybody at the sake of causing World War III.
Well, at the expense of America, and I think that's the key thing. His whole mission, ever since he was, and this is why I love the film, and I keep drawing people back to the Dinesh D'Souza's movie, 2016.
Yep.
His goal is to ratchet down America's superiority because it was ill-gotten through whatever means.
Yeah, in his mind.
Right, exactly, in his mind.
Well, one of the things that what I want to do here, I want to kind of bring our listeners up to speed here. I'm going to read, I got a couple just short paragraphs here. I want to read what these indictments and what these men were put in prison for, to give you some context of what Don is saying here. It says here, between approximately July 2010 and the present, Mechanic, who was the last name of one of the prisoners, and we're going to go through these names here later on here because I want you to understand where they fit into this picture here, and the others, meaning the other people that were indicted and imprisoned, engaged in a conspiracy to obtain various commodities, including controlled U.S. origin microelectronics. They then allegedly exported these to Iran, while carefully evading the government licensing system set up to control such exports. The microelectronics shipped to Iran allegedly included microcontrollers and digital signal processors. According to the indictment, these commodities have various applications and are frequently used in a wide range of military systems, including surface-to-air and cruise missiles. Between July 2010 and the present, Mechanics Network allegedly sent at least $24 million worth of commodities to Iran. The proliferation of sensitive U.S. technologies to Iran and the direct support to their military and weapons program remains a clear threat to U.S. national security, said Assistant Director of FBI Counterintelligence Division Randall Coleman. So the FBI said these guys are a direct threat to U.S. national security. Now, we got to go to a break here, but what I want you to understand, this ties in now with the money that's being released in these sanctions, and this gentleman in Washington owns one of the major corporations of which the assets are being released, had been previously been frozen, and now those assets are being released to the man who helped organize a conspiracy to send intelligence and commodities to Iran for the purpose of developing cruise missile systems and surface-to-air missiles. Now, I don't know how intelligent you have to be to look at that and say, we just gave them back the people instrumental in the development of the weapons program in Iran that supposedly Iran is no longer pursuing. Now, you just can think on that for just a moment here. We got to go to a break. It's time for Moments of Madness. We have Don Dix along with Joe Hakos from Dry Report. I'm your host, John Matthews. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Moments of Madness. An article posted at Bloomberg by Jonathan Bernstein entitled "The Trump Effect Begins to Hit Congress" illustrates very well that what is at stake in the upcoming 2016 general election is not about the GOP's concern about who they will oppose in the Oval Office, but whether or not they have a majority that allows them to protect their individual posts. Bernstein very accurately points out that whether or not Trump magically transforms into the hybrid conservative moderate formerly known as a rhino, the GOP still stands to lose in those demographics they are working so hard to win over through their continual compromise with Obama's agenda to fundamentally transform the United States of America due to Trump's unwillingness to tone his rhetoric and instead fall in line behind the bonerized yes men that rule today's establishment. But that's not all. While the GOP tries their best to convey, all they need to return America to the GOP platform they themselves have dismantled plank by plank is control of the executive branch. It is quite obvious, even if a real conservative like Ted Cruz, himself a member of their most sought-after demographic, should be the last candidate standing, they fear losing the stability that defines the establishment they have worked decades to create in the House and Senate. Here's the madness. The bottom line is, it is not the future of America that is at stake. It's their jobs. The likes of Donald Trump or Ted Cruz in the White House threaten those jobs. Winning to today's GOP elite is more about the individual security that comes from holding a position that equates intelligence and skill with esteem and pay while exhibiting no qualifications for the job whatsoever. We know this because the current list of establishment elites seeking the White House remain at the bottom of the pond with popularity numbers between 0 and 3%. Yet they are still the ones the media flock to and the left exhorts when upper-tier candidates like Trump or Cruz comment on the weather in hope of rising from the bottom to the top of the cesspool they thrive in. When the best you can do is whine about today's political landscape while at the same time lamenting that which once was, who cares what John Kasich thinks about legislative reform? When the best you can refer to is a past that fades like a Clinton scandal, who cares if Jeb Bush tells you he can fix what he and his family helped break? When you do not even have a number that registers on the scale, who cares what Lindsey Graham believes is good foreign policy? In fact, who cares what Graham thinks about anything except maybe his choice of wine? It remains to be seen whether or not the GOP knocks over the chessboard by forcing a brokered convention next year in hope of getting their choice on the ballot, because they know they are about to lose to the new kid in the class. But one thing is certain. Regardless of how the rules are changed, everyone knows who the brats are, and everyone knows class is about to be dismissed. Maybe, just maybe then, these elites can take the position they are most qualified for, janitor sweeping the floors of the halls of Congress. This is John Matthews for Moments of Madness. You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the the difference. Don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Attention taxpayers! If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you have been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. We're
back. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate. We want to remind you that you can pick up the archive of this show along with all of our shows at the conservativesyndicate.net. Just visit our website. Check in the chat room when you want to. You can listen to the show live right from our website. Just go to the conservativesyndicate.net, hit chat room. The whole page will open up. The show's playing. The chat room's there. Feel free to have at it. We've got Don Dix from Act for America, and we're talking about the exchange, the prisoner exchange that took place last week between Iran and America. 7 Iranian prisoners, all convicted on conspiracy to move technology, missile technology, to Iran illegally outside of sanctions. And they were all sentenced, all in prison, all released in exchange for 5 Americans, one of who decided to stay in Iran. This is something that's interesting to me, and I wanted to put this question to you, Don. I believe it's 4 of the 7 Iranians hold dual citizenship, and then the one American who's chosen to remain in Iran also has dual citizenship. And out of these 4 Iranians that have dual citizenship, I believe 3 of them have chosen to remain here in America, in the cities in which they're residing. And to me, does this not indicate the mentality or the strategy of the terrorist organizations that when they send people over here, they develop their cells, they sit dormant, they become part of society, and they sit dormant and just wait for that day they get that call on that SIM card. And it seems to me that not only are we now releasing people to begin or to resume their activity, but we're letting them reside here in the United States to continue that activity.
Well,
I mean that to me is a pretty scary proposition.
It's not really that far. A rational, logical thinking person doesn't have to think that far to realize that in the midst of the U.S. having these sanctions, that there were people operating here that were feeding the technology over to Iran. That despite this nuclear this agreement, that all that's going to happen is these people are going to continue. I don't know if these individuals are the type of people that would sort of strap on, a suicide vest, but they're doing sort of the technological equivalent of that. And I mean, if their mindset is that there's technology here that Iran needs in order to perfect its ability to build deliverables, nuclear deliverables around the world, then I gotta believe that they're. And here's one other thing. It doesn't take a stretch. If we caught these people, how many more people were doing it? This is just probably the tip of the spear of this transfer of technology. Now that these sanctions have been dropped, now that this agreement's in place, who knows what technology is going to flow without us even being able to prosecute them now. So they're going to continue. The fact that they were doing it against the law. Now it's not against the law. They're going to continue to do it. There's another little sliver of an issue along with us releasing this $1.7 billion that largely has flown under the radar. Remember, there were families of the 9/11 terrorist attacks as well as insurance companies that had been granted a default judgment against Iran, against Al-Qaeda, which, we're never going to collect money against Al-Qaeda. But the issue was that Iran conspired to materially support Al-Qaeda more than 10 years before the terror attacks. This default judgment was obtained in a Manhattan court, and for billions of dollars, of which this money that the U.S. was holding could have been used to settle this default judgment. That was largely ignored. So once again, we see where the claims of U.S. individuals, the claims of U.S. companies, the claims of us trying to make a safer world by keeping Iran on a leash, all of that has just been tossed out. Like we said in the beginning, Iran, we got a Starbucks card, Iran got the whole farm. And this is the modus operandi of the of this administration. Mm-hmm. We know with what happened here in Southern California that we had those two individuals that were caught, that were shot dead for perpetrating that terror attack on December 2nd. Do you think those people were operating alone in the U.S.? Of course not.
Well, yeah, you mentioned something here that I think ties in. There's all these little connecting things that, like I said, I spent a couple of days on it, just going through everything I could find. And this is one of the other situations here, a certain set of circumstances here. You talk about the fact that, these people are not alone, that these people are out here doing it. When the glitch that almost put all this in jeopardy, was it last week, surfaced again, very little mention of it on the media, was the fact that the U.S. and the Congress had made a decision that they were going to tighten up the visa waiver program and they were going to tighten up the issuance of visas. And Iran immediately came out and said, well, if you do that, you're violating our agreement. This Iranian agreement included, I guess, these people being able to travel back and forth the way that they wanted to. And all of a sudden, you're going to start clamping down on visas. And that was going to be the glitch that almost killed the deal. John Kerry was commenting on that they had to basically tell or assure Iran that they would not be included in this visa tightening process before Iran finally came back and said, okay, we'll accept this. And then on the UN coming out and saying, okay, Iran has complied with their end of the deal, so let's release all this money. But one of the things that really caught my eye here when I started going through the list of these people, and the guy that really sticks out to me is this gentleman named Baran Mechanic. And he's a dual citizen. He lives in Houston. He's one of the guys that's going to stay here in Houston. And he was indicted on exporting millions of dollars in U.S. technology to Iran. He was kind of like the ringleader of this thing. Now, he is the co-owner of the Iran-based Faratel Corporation and the Houston-based sister company, Smart Power Systems. Now, that name hit me, and I remembered seeing that on the list of companies that had been sanctioned by the United States, this Faratel Corporation. So their money is being released to them, that corporation, as you said, with interest, given back to the guy that orchestrated the conspiracy, that runs the company, that created the sister company over here in the United States, that put this technology in the hands of Iranians. And you look at just that relationship alone, and you think, wow. And so now we're looking at Iran saying they were going to renege on this deal, on this exchange, because of the visa tightening process that the Congress was saying that they wanted to implement, and somehow or another they got special dispensation. I can't help, is this not treason? Should not Obama be put up on acts of misdemeanors and acts against the United States, national security? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out.
At every turn. Have you guys seen the movie 13 Hours yet?
No. I'm going to go see it. I was going to see it tonight, but I'm probably going to go see it this weekend.
Well, I'll tell you what. When you talk about treason, you go and watch that movie and realize that for 13 hours, our government let our people hang out there at the mercy almost of these Al-Qaeda-based militias. When you actually see it lived in front of you for 2 3/4 hours, you see the environment. And this movie does and I'm not going to give away anything, so if you haven't seen it, don't worry, no spoiler alerts here. But what Michael Bay does is he does I think a pretty good job of sort of setting up and establishing for inserting you into just how dangerous things were in Iraq. In Benghazi at the time. And then you sort of live through what these contractors were had to deal with now in terms of the attack on the ambassador on the facility as well as the annex. Realizing that for 13 hours, which is the name of the movie, these people were dealing with wave after wave after wave of attacks. And the fact that our administration was derelict in its duty to protect American lives in this situation. For me, Benghazi represents a nexus of all the things we're talking about today regarding this Iran deal, and how this administration has been derelict in its duty for keeping America safe. And this whole Iran thing that you've so meticulously pulled apart and examined is another chapter in that dereliction of duty. The single most important role of the federal government is its constitutional role is national security. And when you look at what we're giving up in terms of our national security as it relates to this, this intricate web that these companies here have created, that they violated these sanctions. They were shipping parts through front companies in China and other areas just to be undetected in what they were doing. And now they're free to roam about the cabin. This administration at every turn, everything that you examine and you pick apart as you've done here, whether it's the Benghazi situation or this Iran deal, this administration is derelict in its duty and its number one constitutional role, and that is America's national security. Every turn, you would think there are situations where these people should be brought up on charges of treason.
Right.
But that'll never happen because guess who controls the very agencies that are in a power to do that? It's the Department of Justice.
Yeah, I get you there. We got to go to a break here, and when we come back, we'll continue tie up all the loose ends here. Our discussion here with Don Dix from Acts for America. Stay with us right here, the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did. Hey, we're back. And you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. We've got Don Dix from Act for America doing his bi-weekly segment with us here at the Conservative Syndicate. And we've been talking a lot about the situation with Iran. Like I said, I was wary about approaching this just because of the fact I'm just head over heels happy that we got Americans back. But you know, when we look at the political side of this, we got American lives. We're able to bring those people home. But what we gave in exchange is quite impervious to basically, as Don said, giving Iran a carte blanche check to do whatever they want. And anytime we do anything now to stop them, all they have to do is kidnap somebody. Put somebody up there, and of course they'll get their way. So I wanted to give the final moments here over to Joe because I kind of kept him headlocked here over the last couple of segments here. Joe, what do you want to interject on this?
Well, Don had something to say. Go ahead, Don. Run with what you had there.
I was just going to say, we should have never been in this situation with these four Americans before we ever sat down at the negotiating table. A precondition to sitting down with Iran should have been release those people as sort of a goodwill gesture, and we'll talk about it then. And Carly Fiorina, presidential candidate Carly Fiorina, brought that out that we did a horrible job of negotiating this. Donald Trump's made hay on it. That's all I was going to say. You and I should not be in a position of trying to defend ourselves for calling the administration out on a bad deal. Because obviously these four families. I mean, I know what the Abedini, I've watched, her talk about what, Pastor Abedini was going through as he was a prisoner. And obviously we're grateful to have these people at home. And this conversation does not mitigate that. What we need to be clear about is how poorly this administration executed, its negotiation in the first place. Those people should have been mad from day one that their loved ones were continuing to be held hostage while we were negotiating this other stuff. They should have been released before we ever sat down to the table.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. That just once again shows how inept these people are. But then again, it's what we've learned to expect from the Obama administration is nothing but ineptitude. And right. So I think what we're going to see now is since Iran has all their money, they have all their ill-gotten goods. It's been reported today that they're going to start to build 2 more nuclear reactors. Of course, they're going to be peaceful for everything and used for nothing but electrical power because they should have nuclear reactors as well. But I think what we're going to end up seeing is a lot more provocation from the Iranians throughout the Straits of Hormuz and throughout everywhere. They're in Iraq doing their special deeds. Trying to kidnap more people, especially Westerners. So, like you said, they've just been given the green light. Do whatever you want. And then you can use this as bargaining chips because they know there's a weak individual in the White House, and this administration is nothing but weakness.
Well, and there's another dynamic at play here. Let's not forget, we're focused on the Iran versus America. aspects of this. But Iran and Saudi Arabia have they no longer have diplomatic relations because Saudi Arabia, cut the head off of a Shia cleric. Well, the reality is that this whole thing with the sailors wasn't so much between the United States and Iran. This was Iran burnishing their street credibility among their Islamic neighbors, that they have, how powerful they are. Because remember, there's competition within Islam for trying to get to the point to where they can bring about the end of the world. There's different sects, as in SECTS, within Islam, and we see that play out within ISIS. Muslims are one of the biggest victims of the conflict in Syria.
So we'll see just more destabilization throughout the Middle East because of this kind of actions.
Exactly.
Yeah, yep. I think another aspect.
And let's not forget Northern Africa as well.
Yeah, yep. I think in addition to that, I think another aspect we have to think about is what is Israel doing right now?
Israel's siding up with Saudi Arabia, if you believe it or not.
They are, everything that we have done in the Middle East has put Israel in a much more dangerous world. And, all you got to do is Google Israel and the Middle East, and you just have article after article after article of how Israel is in a much more dangerous position as a result of all of this. And, of course, Israel is no friend of the Obama administration, much to what they say, Israel's a great friend. All you got to do is, Obama hates Bibi Netanyahu. I mean, he sicked his campaign machine on Bibi Netanyahu in the last election. So, Israel is not much of a friend of the Obama administration, and they're in a much more dangerous situation.
Yeah, and Abbas is out there saying he wants to step up the wave of terrorism in Israel and in the Middle East in general. That's your Palestinian friends.
Yep. It is a much more dangerous world, guys, and that's why this 2016 election, is so important. We have to we have to determine who it is that's going to lead us into the next 4 years.
Absolutely, because Hillary Clinton does not have her fingerprints are all over this as well.
Well, yeah, and that's why people got to go see 13 Hours, because the common remark after that movie is that Hillary Clinton should be in prison for what she did on that alone, forgetting all the other stuff that
she should be in prison for.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I happen to think that it should have gone beyond Hillary Clinton. I don't think that Obama's hands are clean in all this. I just believe that what we got to watch now over the next couple of months, at least, is what Israel does, because Israel's intelligence is on par with ours, probably maybe better than ours at this point in time. And these people are not just going to sit around and watch. So I think I think what we're going to see is we're going to see some type of activity from the Middle East, those people in the Middle East that are going to try to provoke Israel into some type of confrontation. To justify doing what Joe says, rebuild those activated reactors and all that other kind of stuff.
No, they want to build new ones.
Yeah, we're out of time, and I want to give you a moment, Don, to plug your website, your organization, and your show.
Well, gosh, thanks. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys, and I appreciate the work that you all do and the opportunity to be with you and to share some of these thoughts and ideas with your listeners. Act for America. ActForAmerica.org is the website you can go to stay abreast of what the organization is doing. And there's a little tab up at the top. It says Get Involved. I would just encourage you to go out and click that, because, there's a lot of daggers that are pointed at America's heart right now. And one of the most, I think the biggest one, it doesn't, all the other stuff we deal with here in America doesn't amount to a hill of beans if we don't have a secure country to do it within. National security, I think, is one of the biggest, most important issues that face this country. And Act for America is one organization that is doing, a lot of work in order to raise awareness on this. So it's a great website to go, great organization to get involved in. There's chapters all across the country people can check out.
All right, my friend. I appreciate it so much again for your expertise and knowledge. And, you're one of the guys out there in the trenches with the rest of us. So thanks so much, my friend.
Appreciate it. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Okay, guys, we're done for today. We'll be back tomorrow with more. I am going to be sharing tomorrow a story that came in through our chat room here about another terrorist act over in Africa that involved a lot of internationals, and we'll be talking about that tomorrow, along with some of the other things that are going on. We're going to get back on the Clinton bashing wagon here with what's happening with this yet further, another revelation. So we'll talk to you tomorrow night, and just remember, it ain't over, folks. It ain't over. God bless you all. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of The Conservative Syndicate, the globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all of our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's the conservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best and uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, signing off until next time, right here on the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.